And a very good morning and welcome to our second live streaming coverage for Saturday of Drive South Rally Otago, and we are situated in Kuri Bush, the stage that's probably almost synonymous with Rally Otago, and this particular stage is 15 kilometres long. We've just seen our very first competitor go through, which was Ray Wilson driving in the four-wheel drive classic class, and Donna Elder and the Audi Quattro S Coupe. Also must apologise that the cross posting has dropped off from some of the international sites, so at this stage the live streaming coverage is coming to you through the MoMac page, and we ask that you share this please to allow other people to enjoy the live streaming coverage as we bring it to you from a beautiful day here in Otago for the Drive Safe Rally. And Roscoe, just looking at this particular stage, Kuri Bush, everybody talks about it. How would you describe the stage?
Probably one of the most challenging in the whole country actually, and certainly emphasises the over crest into aspect of rallying, and I think this stage has probably claimed a couple of national champions in the past. Well known Joe McAndrew unfortunately tipped his Group A Subaru Impreza over here once. Marty Rostenberg's put his Evo in the same corner. They call it Joe's Corner, I think, historically now, probably forever. I just heard another guy tell us that Greg Graham put a VR4, local guy from Christchurch.
Darren Galbraith had issues last year.
It's a classic stage, a classic corner. But a great surface. It's actually quite dry considering how much rain we had yesterday and last night, so we might get a little bit of dust later on. We got some fantastic viewing spots from the cameras. A couple of cameras sitting up on top of some, what would you call it, water container?
Water tanks.
Water tanks, and looks like we're probably going to bring you the best part of a kilometre.
So here we are in Kuri Bush, special stage 4 of Rally Otago, and we're just trying to get a connection to update our results. And as soon as we have some information, we'll get that to you. But it looks like, Roscoe, that Hayden Patton, as expected, has a reasonably handy lead on the overalls at this stage.
At the moment, it's looking like 40-second lead over Brendan Reeves, and Dylan Turner's close in third place. Matt Summerfield fourth after stage 2.
As Wayne Muckle just comes through, our first competitor on the live streaming coverage here from special stage 4 Kuri Bush. That's Wayne Muckle and Tania Cresswell. Wayne from Ashburton, Tania from Woodville, and the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 3 Group A. The next competitor that should be coming into our coverage is competitor 104, Murray Marshall from South Otago, and Chris Thompson from Oamaru, and the Subaru Impreza WRX, also in the four-wheel drive classic class. And we must say good morning to many of our international viewers watching the live streaming. We've had notification and messages from USA, from Ireland, the UK. Wherever you're enjoying the coverage, you're seeing the beautiful day down here in South Otago as up comes our second Audi Quattro, Phil Collins and Tracy Spark of Motueka. So obviously Murray Marshall and Chris Thompson have an issue, and Phil Collins is the next car on the road. The next on the seated entry list should be Darren Keane and Sarah Faulkner in the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 1. Darren from Dunedin and Sarah from Christchurch. Just a reminder to you that if you are watching the live streaming and you're able to support the MoMac team to cover the expenses of this event, we'd appreciate it if you could make a donation at the GoFundMe.com page as you see on screen. And also here comes our next competitor. And it is Darren Keane and Sarah Faulkner, the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 1.
car actually originally owned by Chris Ramsey from Hamilton and co-driven by Laurie Brenzel. Both those guys are actually co-drivers in this particular rally many years later, 20 years later. And it's good to see it still in its original colour scheme.
So all going true to form, we should have Craig Cox and Matthew Terry from Christchurch in their Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 2. So as you'll see on live on screen, our GoFundMe page, due to contractual obligations, the sponsorship the MoMac team had organised for this event could not proceed. So to cover the costs of the crew here to bring you the live streaming, I've now set up a GoFundMe page and any donations gratefully accepted. Car 109 comes through, and so there we are. That's Nigel Lawson from Mosgiel. Obviously Willie Hawes has not managed to come through the stage, had issues early on, and so a couple of the drivers in the four-wheel drive Classic, Craig Cox and Willie Hawes, look like they are perhaps withdrawn from the rally at the stage.
Yes, that's good.
No, there he is. Craig Cox has come through, so we'll just alter the order of
Okay, our previous broadcast came from Special Stage 2. I can just update quickly of the results after that stage. Then we'll bring you some results shortly from Special Stage 3, because we're of course now parked in 4. So overall, Hayden Padden leads the rally after 2 stages by 40 seconds from Brendan Reeves, and another 17 seconds to 3rd place in Dylan Turner, and Matt Summerfield's a further 8 seconds back. So that's the top 4. If I talk to you quickly about the Classic 2-wheel drives, one of the fastest of the Classic cars after Special Stage 2, it's actually Matt Osberg, unsurprisingly, but interestingly it is actually only 3 seconds. No, I'll take that back. Sorry, 12 seconds to Regan Ross, and 0.1 back to 3rd place in Derek Asen.
Nissan Pulsar GTIR of Ray Casey and Jimmy Martin. Ray from Cromwell, Jimmy from Alexandra. Nissan Pulsar GTIR, car number 110.
How's it going?
Coming live from Otago Rally this morning from Special Stage 4, Kuri Bush. And into the screen now comes, yes, it is Zach King and Mark Thompson, both from Dunedin in their Subaru WRX.
You're not Mr. McNeil,
And our next competitor should be
Mr. McNeil.
McNeil, no?
No.
should be Tom Bond and Neil Woolley in the Subaru Legacy. Tom from Dunedin and Neil from Australia. And here comes the Subaru Legacy, car number 112. As Tom Bond heads down towards, as we know, Joe's corner. Matt McClinky from Christchurch in a Subaru Impreza WRX. Should be our next competitor coming through. Car number 113. And a special mention to our MoMac team here manning the cameras today, Todd, Isaac and James. Ryan from MoMac is the producer and has organised the live stream coverage here today. Our editing on the live stream is Chucky, doing a fantastic job switching the cameras and bringing the vision to you. And our technical expert Tony is keeping the live stream coverage going out through New Zealand and around the world, although the posting will have to come through MoMac today with a couple of the overseas sites. Cross posting has dropped. As Matt McClinky makes his way through Kuri Bush. As car 102 comes through, so there is Wayne Muckle and Tania Creswell running out of order at this stage. So of course the competing cars are coming to special stage 4, having been at service at Waiоla. Fantastic service park that they've set up here by Lake Waiola. They've done Tyree Beach long stage, 15 kilometres, and then into Kuri Bush here, special stage 4. As car 115 comes through the stage, and car number 115 is Greg Keane and Nick Jenner from Dunedin in their Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 1. Now they lost a couple of minutes in stage 2, so obviously have been to service, have the car repaired and are back through here, special stage 4 in Kuri Bush. There's one more stage after this before the crews return back to Waiola to the service park. The first car due in there at 10 to midday. So from Kuri Bush they then go to special stage 5, which is Macintosh Road. It's 8 kilometres long. So effectively car number 115 was the last of the four-wheel drive classics, unless we do have some cars that have repaired and rejoined. Otherwise we will be starting the first of the classic runners, and these cars run in reversed seating order.
And that makes it just a little bit harder for the results, because being in reverse order, the fastest classic cars are still doing stage 3 while these cars are going past us in stage 4.
So there goes Rob McConaughey and Sean Turner from Dunedin, the first of the classics in their Toyota Starlet 1600.
Very nice, sounds sweet too. But just some numbers to keep an eye on for Special Stage 4, which we're coming live from. Hayden Paddon does have the overall record at this stage. It's 7:19.8, so keep that up your sleeve, 7:19.8. The actual fastest classic rear-wheel drive car, or fastest classic ever been through the stage, is actually Hayden Paddon again, back in 2015, when he won this rally outright in a Ford Escort RS 1800. Amazing that a two-wheel drive car can beat all the four-wheel drives, but that's how far ahead he is. And that particular day he recorded a time of 7:52.7, so that might be 30 odd seconds behind his four-wheel drive time, but keep that time up your sleevey for comparing against Mads Osberg later on.
And of course we would have and should have had Scott O'Donnell and Scott Milne next, but they had issues and did not start stage 2. So here comes Steve Cox, Laurie Brenzel in the Toyota Starlet. And they're doing a great job, Ross. So as you mentioned, this is just the first event in this car. This beautifully built Toyota Starlet, and the two of them are doing Class 4 two-wheel drive of the historic section of NZRC this year.
I think the actual first event they did was the Silver Fern Rally a few months ago, which is an endurance rally. Covers, can't remember how many thousand Ks of special stages, but over 7 days. So that was probably not quite as quick a pace as what this one is. But this is their first time in the New Zealand Championship with this particular car.
Ian Elliott and Tom Milliken from Queenstown and Oamaru respectively in their Datsun 1200 car 33, and of course preceding them on the entry order would have been George Keast from Invercargill and his Mark Escort Mark 1, but he dropped 3 minutes early on, and suspect that George has in fact retired. So there's Ian Elliott and Tom Milliken in their Datsun 1200. Ford Escort RS 1800 of Eddie Gray and Josh Schaefer from Greymouth should be next. And indeed it is. All the way from the coast, Eddie and Josh in their Ford Escort RS 1800.
Okay, there's been 10 or so cars finished this particular stage so far. Of course, Ray Wilson was actually leading the field, number 1 on the road. He's actually got the fastest time overall, but unfortunately it looks like Wayne Muckles lost 10 minutes in there somewhere. That's not such a good thing. Hopefully the car's okay to continue.
That will explain why Wayne was running down the order. And if the order is correct, we should have Tim Smith and Brett Madron and then Toyota Starlet next in this classic field. Tim Smith, of course, the son of the well-known Mark Smith, who's been behind, worked with Brian Stokes rallying for many, many years in the Magman Group for 20 years. And no, in fact it is the Ford Escort that has come through the stage. As you can see, a beautiful day here in Otago for day one of the Drive South 2019 Rally Fest. And there is Tim Smith. Moment once again to thank all those who have made donations to our GoFundMe page to help the MoMac crew bring the live streaming coverage to you this weekend. And Miles McElwain Michael Bunyard and their Toyota Corolla AE86, car number 30.
Okay, we've got the final of the two-wheel drive classic, the Escorts, coming through stage 3 now. Mats Osberg 7:35.4, Regan Ross 7:35.8, 0.4 of a second between them over 12 k's. That's pretty good and interesting. But what is more interesting is Dean Burst has rejoined the field, and he completed that stage in 3rd position. But I don't believe he's actually included in the overall result, so I think he missed stage 2 for some reason. We might have to catch up with that somewhere along the line. Derek Asen was 4th in the stage and running 3rd in that particular class, and he is now 7:45. He's 10 seconds behind Regan Ross.
As interview, it comes Marty Rostenberg and Pat Norris in the Toyota Starlet. Marty from Auckland, Pat Norris of course from Nelson, reuniting back in the little 1300 Toyota Starlet that they successfully, well not the same car, but successfully campaigned, similar car many years ago.
Cannot find a time for Dean Burst coming through stage 2. There is just no Dean Burst on the list, so he's missed a stage. Oh dear, that doesn't sound too good, does it?
Carl Rabbage, 26, and Andrew Rabbage.
It's got a bit of a misfire. Oh well. Was that bad fuel or bad ignition? Or bad luck?
Car 27. Brendan Mitchell and Ross Taylor. Oh, sorry, beg your pardon. That was David Lawrence from Australia and Darren Davidson.
There's no split timing or anything for a stage. I think because we're too close to the start.
Okay. 26C.
Unfortunately, this is just proving a little bit tricky today because normally we would have a what they call live timing going, which gives you split times, but because we're only a couple of k's in from the start line, there are no split times available for us when they get to us, so it's a little bit difficult to read who's coming next.
And that's the Datsun stanza of Darren Snooks and Michael Forshoe, both from Australia.
A lot of guys come over from Australia to do this classic rally, good on them. Might have to have a count up.
And a very good morning to Kevin Martin. Thanks, Kevin, for your comments on the Facebook page for our coverage today. Nice multicam angles. Go hard, Stuart Reid and John Mortimer. Thanks, Kevin, for your comments. If you'd like to post a comment on the Facebook page you are watching the live streaming, we can bring some of those comments to you, and it's nice to get the feedback of where you are watching from and if the coverage is coming in loud and clear to you.
Ed Mulligan.
Ed Mulligan and Claire Bushini, both from Australia, in the BMW 325i. And we haven't seen them on our coverage so far because this is the first full field coverage we'll be doing for the day. But there are two other BMWs back in the field. Of course, Ari Pettigrew from Rangiora, well known for his exploits and fast times in a BMW. Certainly not a car that was that common back in your day, Roscoe, BMWs?
Not really made for rallying, but hey, it's good to see them out there. It's a different flavour, different sound. Adds to the spectacle.
Craig Barclay, Darren Mills and the Ford Escort Mark II from Belclutha. Coming to you live this morning from the 15-kilometre stage of Kuri Bush, special stage 4. And the next cars to come through should be Brendan Mitchell, then Graham Curry, and another Australian team of Daniel Callanan and Alan Steen in a Ford Escort RS 1800. From Southland, there we go, Brendan Mitchell from Winton, Ross Taylor from Invercargill, and the Datsun 1200. Once again, good to see a good crowd out spectating on the rally today, and the conditions couldn't be better for a day in the countryside. Just a wee bit of a delay again, waiting for the next car to come through in the classic section, but here they come. It is Graham Curry and Tony Witheridge. Graham from Christchurch, Tony from Rolleston, in the Mitsubishi Lancer EX Turbo.
Just picked up an interesting fact, which I probably should have been onto earlier. Interesting that all the classic cars seem to end up in the South Island. Out of 52 entrants in the four-wheel drive and the two-wheel drive classic rally, there's actually only 6 from the North Island, and that is equalled by 6 from Australia. The rest of them are all South Island cars and drivers. Interesting. And of course later on, when all the all-comers come through, there's from all around the world. Oh dear, that is not sounding good.
Two of our Australian competitors, that's Daniel Callanan and Alan Steen.
That
And a
car is
40
not
Escort.
sounding very sweet at all. It's down on 2 cylinders. Might be some bad fuel.
And we should have our next Mitsubishi Lancer EX Turbo in the hands of Deb Kibble from Waimate and Heather Johnson from Dunedin. And here they come. Nope. No, it's not.
It's the Toyota.
Barry Varco and Andrew Smith in the Toyota Celica TA64.
Beautifully prepared car. Vaughan Waldegaard rallied one of those in the World Rally Championship in the early 80s. On Rally Safari, I believe, as well. So just continuing the international flavour, of course, we've got Mats Osberg rounding out the classics and in terms of internationals on top of the Australians. But of course, when you get down into the all-comers and the championship APRC cars and so forth, there is a few extra Australians. Of course, we know Brendan Reeves and so forth. But interestingly, you know, there's Frank Kelly from Ireland. The list goes on from overseas, just running down it quickly. There's a guy from the Philippines, I can't really pronounce his name, and even New Caledonia as well, another entrant. It's interesting, there's a lot of international flavour. In fact, we're going to have a quick count, another half a dozen Australians running in the open class.
There's Wayne Mason and Mike Dale from Australia and their Ford Escort RS 1800.
Also running a little bit off song as it's low down in the RPM range.
Oh, well, a name like Wayne Mason, I don't know if you remember the tune Classical Gas was written by Wayne Mason. Maybe he needs a bit of classical gas in there. So, not the same guy, I would imagine, but there we are. Wayne Mason and Mike Dale from Australia, car 16C. Heading through special stage 4 in Kuri Bush.
Sounds like it could be Corolla Levin.
So there we go, Jake Thomas and Braden Palmer from Dunedin in their Toyota Levin.
And that
Beautiful
sounds a bit more
sounding car.
sweet, doesn't it? That's running on all four and more. Good old Toyota. Maybe that one's obviously fuel injected, the others may be carbureted. A little bit of difference going on there. It's good to see the Toyotas doing it.
And we've just been advised, thanks DC, that Fleur Pedersen is in fact co-driving with Barry Varco in the Toyota Celica. So Fleur, of course, normally with Brian Green, sponsor of the New Zealand Rally Championship, of course. Brian unable to make the event due to an injury to his ribs. Matt Summerfield in his Mitsubishi Mirage. There's car 12C comes through, and that is Andy Martin and Matt Hayward from Tauranga in a Mazda RX-3.
Cheeky fella, just threw a couple of stones at my nephew, got him in the ear. You okay?
And just like to say a special mention to Rob Sutherland this morning. Thank you, Rob, for your donation of $100 to the MoMac GoFundMe live funding page for the live streaming. As you're probably aware, MoMac were prohibited from having any sponsorship logos on the screen, so the only way they can recover the costs is to have the is to go through the GoFundMe page. Mike Townsend and Gareth Spence in a Toyota Corolla. And wherever you're watching the live streaming from today, you're most welcome to write and share a comment with us through the Facebook page. As our next competitor comes through, Richie Chadwick and Rachel Chadwick from Dunedin, and their
Front wheel drive.
lovely sounding.
Front
Quite
wheel
a
drive. That's the first of front wheel drives. There you go.
So getting down to the business end of the Classic field. Car number 9 should be coming to us next, which is Grant Walker from Australia with Tracy Dewhurst, also from Australia, and a Ford Escort RS 1800.
Stone throwing.
Grant Walker and Tracy Dewhurst from Australia.
We must be 20 feet,
Grant
20
Walker
metres
speaking.
from the course, and we still got stones thrown at us, but she's a dangerous sport.
Throw some stones here on special stage 4 in Kuri Bush. Should be Carl Robinson, Tony Amers from Upper Hutt, and a Nissan Bluebird Turbo. As more and more spectators arriving here at our spectator spot in special stage 4 Kuri Bush, of course getting here to see the fastest of the classics and the first of the NZRC and Asia Pacific cars as 8C. The Nissan Bluebird Turbo of Carl Robinson and Tony Amers from Upper Hutt. And a call out to some of those watching the live streaming coverage today. G'day to Dave Ollis, Rob Sutherland, Paul Price. Nice to have you joining our coverage and enjoying Rally Otago coming to you live stream from MoMac. It's Graham Ferguson, Ross Moody in the Ford Escort RS 1800. Graham from Greymouth and Ross hailing from Cromwell. Of course, as you mentioned, Ross, the Australian competitors are particularly fond of this rally, and we have another good pairing coming through. Stuart Reid, of course, who's been rallying in Australia for many years, and John Mortimer in a Ford Escort Mark II.
And we saw him in stage 2, of course, and that car was sounding terrific. It is totally on song, and hopefully still going strong. No doubt we'll see shortly, or hear it shortly, or both. Oh yeah, it's music.
Oh, there is 7C, so there is Graham Ferguson and Ross Moody.
That car looked like it was dressed up in the old Massport team colours from way back. The early 70s. Okay, we're getting down to the sharp end now of the two-wheel drive classics, or should we call it the Ford RS 1800 class. It's looking likely we might see the VW Golf of Dean Bureston amongst them as well. Still not really sure. We'll have to probably get an update later on in the day as to what happened and why he missed Specials 2. But he's back on running very strong. So hopefully we'll see him going through shortly.
Volkswagen Golf, of course, made its name in New Zealand in the hands of Kenneth Eriksson many years ago.
1987, I think he finished second on Rally New Zealand, and this car's painted up exactly the same. And no doubt, knowing Dean Burst, it'll be classic in every way, and it'll probably be a perfect example of the original.
So a wee bit out of order comes 31C.
Obviously had a problem earlier on and running out of order.
And 31C is Adam Fisher and Gilly Fisher from Wellington in their Toyota Starlet.
Out of the 6 from the North Island, there's 3 of them are Starlets. Interesting.
So just to explain, Ross, for those who don't know, if you have an issue with your car, you're late out of service, you can just slot in the field, and obviously taking a time penalty.
Of course you would have lost some time along the way, and that they've got to rejoin somewhere, and they probably want to fit them in between Hayden Padden and the top boys, but yeah, you can't let them just sit on the side of the road neither, so they've obviously lost a lot of time. But
Coming to you live from Special Stage
sounds
4.
like Stuart Reid, doesn't it?
And definitely another escort. Yes, there we have Stuart Reid and John Mortimer from Australia in the Ford Escort Mark II.
Nice gear ratios. This car just sounds brilliant. It's starting to get warm here, Grant. I'm going to have to take a layer off.
I think it's going to get warmer than the 13 degrees they were forecasting today. It's a beautiful day down here in Otago, and let's hope the conditions stay for the remainder of the day. Great for the spectators to come out and enjoy what is an absolute bumper field here in the 2019 Drive Safe Rally Fest, incorporating of course the Classics, New Zealand Rally Championship and Asia Pacific. Jeff Juddy and Sarah Brennan from Christchurch in the Ford Escort RS 1800 Car 5C.
Gosh, he's been around the sport for a long time. He's one of the local heroes, isn't he? Putting on a show.
And of course the yellow Escort that just passed us before Juddy's car's off and was driven by Brian Green at Westland. Of course Brian Green enjoys hopping in the Escorts and doing some of the classic rallying as well as in his Mitsubishi Mirage AP4 car.
Which is this weekend been driven by Matt Summerfield and co-driven by his sister Nicole.
And Brian, we hope you're recovering well from your rib injury. And here he comes, Dean Buist.
No slideways for the front wheel drive VW Golf, but Dean knows how to get the maximum out of that car, and he'll be in for a good time, no doubt, and a fast time.
Dean Buist, Carl Celeste from Christchurch in the Volkswagen Golf GTI as our remaining 3 competitors in the Classic, 3, 2, 1, all Ford Escorts. We should have Derek Asen, Derek followed by Regan Ross, and then our international star Mats Ostberg from Norway.
up the 50 metre arrow, full sideways, threw the arrow over the fence, didn't need that. Poor next competitor, I guess he's going to know there's a corner coming up because he's got pace notes. But hey, the guys further down the track that are running no pace notes might not know. I don't think I've ever seen a car so sideways so far before the corner.
Derek Osen and Nikita Gibson. The show just gets better.
He's on a mission.
You want text?
Yep, I'm just going to read during the break.
Regan Ross from Kaikoura and Samantha Gray from Timaru in the Ford Escort RS 1800. Trying to throw down the challenge in the classic section to Mats Ostberg from Norway. The former WRC star came and enjoyed the rally of Otago last year, and great to have this crew back. Mats and Torsten from Norway in the Ford Escort RS 1800.
We'll just wait for Maz to come through and then we'll give you a bit of a rundown on the New Zealand Championship cars and the APRC cars that have finished now Special Stage 3, but we'll just wait because we'll have a 5-minute gap and we'll a little bit to fill in. Interesting to see the lines of Mads Osberg. He's not really throwing it around as much as the locals. Probably not quite the showman, but at the end of the day, Slideways is not necessarily the fastest. He's getting the power to the ground, getting the car launching out of the corners, and his times are reflecting that a little bit. He's heading the field of the classics at the moment, and may well continue. There should be a 5-minute gap now till Hayden Padden comes along. Interesting how they've set the field this year and the starting order, but it's certainly nobody can complain that the roads weren't swept. In fact, most of the rocks have ended up around our feet. Special Stage 3 overall times. Hayden Padden 6:50. Another stage record. No doubt. Brendan Reeves actually only 11 seconds behind, so 11 seconds over 12 Ks. That's around about a second a K. That's as close as anybody's been to Hayden for a long time. Last year in the championship it was actually anyone that was getting under 2 seconds to Hayden was doing pretty well. So Brendan's actually peddling that Ford Fiesta of Brian Stokes extremely well. We'll give you some overall results as soon as we can. But at the moment, just going through the Special Stage 3 overall times, 6:50 to Hayden Padden, 7:01 to Brendan Reeves, 7:04 to Ben Hunt, 7:11 to Matt Summerfield, 7:13 to Phil Campbell, another Fiesta AP4 from Tauranga, Dylan Turner of course in the Audi AP4, 7:13.8, he's only half a second behind Phil Campbell, and 7th overall is David Holder at 7:17. 8th overall was Stephen Barker, 7:18. Josh Marsden was 9th, 7:25. Andrew Hawkswood, probably not the pace he would like to be showing, on 7:31. Interestingly, the 11th car at this stage was Mads Osberg at 7:35.4. Regan Ross 7:35.8. And I see Rana Horan has also completed Special Stage 3. He might have had a temporary withdrawal. We didn't see him come through Special Stage 2 or no results. I think what happened there was he might have had a little bit of a rollover. We had a report that someone saw some gravel rash on his roof. So it looks like both him and Dean Buist missed Special Stage 2, but back in the action on 3. And of course we've seen Dean come past here, and no doubt we'll see Rana Horan come past in the next half an hour or so.
The crowd continues to pour in here to the vantage point in special stage 4. All keen to see Hayden Paddon, no doubt, the Asia Pacific Rally Championship cars and the New Zealand Rally Championship cars coming through next in normal seated order. Just a quick mention once again to the GoFundMe page set up by the MoMac team to help recover some of the costs of providing this live streaming coverage to you over this weekend. Forbidden to carry sponsorship logos on the live streaming coverage, trying to recover some of their expense and costs by the GoFundMe page. Any donations you can make towards that, gratefully received and very much appreciated. So of course Hayden Paddon was the winner of Rally Otago last year, and of course he won it in 8 minutes and 20 seconds over Ben Hunt. Matt Summerfield was third, but the pace that Hayden's putting on, and here he is.
Words can't describe how fast that is. Judge for yourself on the coverage. That's just perfection personified.
If he thought he was record setting pace last year, he is smashing it, bro, this year.
No wasted effort, no wasted speed, no over braking, absolutely on the boil. That is fantastic. Great to see Hayden.
Car number 2 on the road should be David Holder and Jason Farmer. Of course, running the Holden Barina AP4 that Greg Murphy used in rallying last year. Greg's retired from the gravel. In fact, Greg's probably very busy this weekend because he'll be over at Phillip Island doing the commentaries for the V8 Supercar coverage. But this year, David Holder has leased that car for the 2 rounds of the Asia Pacific Rally Championship to be held in New Zealand. Of course, the first round here in Otago before they move all the way to the other end of the country for Rally Whangarei in a month or so time. So David Holder, Jason Farmer in the Holden Barina should be next.
Well, there's a 2-minute gap, I think, between the APRC entries. We've just actually got some times in now for the end of this stage, of course, special stage 4. The classic cars have got to the finish line. Interestingly, Regan Ross has actually beaten Mads Osberg for the first time today by 4 seconds, 4.4 seconds. And the record of the 2-wheel drives was held by Hayden Paddon, or is held by Hayden Paddon at 7:52.7. Regan Ross did an 8:01.7. So the record still stands with Hayden, which was set in 2015, of course, in a Ford Escort RS 1800. And so Regan Ross first, 8:01, Mads Osberg 8:05.5, Derek Asen 8:07.6, Darren Galbraith 8:15, Dean Burist obviously still got a little bit of a problem, 8:23, Stuart Reid 8:29.1, Jeff Judd 8:29.7, Graham Ferguson 8:29.9. That's pretty close between those guys, and the pace at the head of the 2-wheel drive classic field is hot.
As we wait for David Holder to arrive, if he is in fact car 2 on the road. As many people will know, David Holder had a shot at the Junior World Rally Championship last year in Europe, where they all drive identical Ford Fiestas. And nice to see our 2016 New Zealand Rally champion back competing here once again this year. Of course, his focus is the Asia Pacific Rally Championship, and after the 2 rounds in New Zealand, there's a qualifying round in China, which many of the competitors are aiming to head for.
Just got an interesting stat here. Looked back in the archives for some times from 10 years ago, 2009. Hayden Paddon was in a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 9. Evo 9? Evo 8. And of course, same special stage, Kuri Bush. His time at that stage in 2009 was 7:54. So just keep that up your sleeve. He's already broken that record last year here at now down to 7:19. That's incredible. 35 seconds faster.
On a 15-kilometre stage.
Over 10 years development, of course, you'd probably expect that. But we'll have Hayden's time come through shortly.
Aucklanders Andrew Hawkswood and Jeff Cross in the Mazda 2 AP4. So no sign of David Holder just yet.
That's an E.
Oh, Chris. Andrew Hawkswood, who had retired, he said, when he won the championship, but he's back out giving a crack, and of course has his son Jack also competing, who was car 4. Jack's not here, but here comes Ben Hunt, Tony Rawstrom, and their Subaru Impreza WRX. That car certainly has got some speed going this year. Of course, Ben's developed that car over the last couple of seasons, and
Interesting to see that Subaru actually have gifted the car to Ben Hunt now after his good performances and national championship win. And Ben they had a bit of a promotion and handing over of the keys and a celebration, and it's really good to see that the manufacturers getting behind it and have made that happen.
so Ben Hunt through, so missing out of the seeded drivers at this stage, as we said, no sign of David Holder, and also car 5, Hoen Chu from Australia, and Dennis Nagel, so entered in the Asia Pacific Rally Championship. We'll see whether they will come through. Brendan Reeves from Australia in the Ford Fiesta AP4
That was good.
with Rainan
That's committed.
Casalmino from Australia sitting beside him. Brendan, of course, driving the Brian Stokes owned Ford Fiesta AP4, and if Brian needed anyone to sort it, he's doing a pretty fine job.
Showed full commitment there. I rate Brendan Reeves. Of course, he does the pace note checking for Hayden Paddon on the World Rally Championship in the last couple of years. They call it the gravel crew, so obviously Brendan and Hayden have got a fairly good relationship going, but how do you get a job like that?
Here comes Dylan Turner and Malcolm Reed in the Audi AP4.
Not sure why you'd want to pull the handbrake on there to get you around that corner, because it's not that particularly sharp. If anything, might have slowed him down a little bit, but I saw the back wheels lock up, so might be a little bit overcautious.
And we've just been advised that Hayden Paddon has taken 4.4 seconds off his Kuri Bush record from last year, 7:15.4.
My gosh.
Well, you said it was quick, you said it was beautifully driven, and absolutely on the limit, and there it is, 7:15.4 for Hayden Paddon in Kuri Bush. Take that. Matt Summerfield and Nicole Summerfield.
Oh, he's flat left-hand front tyre. That's happened. He's stopping. He's going to change it. That's happened in the first couple of Ks, obviously. Oh, that's really sad to see. Oh, what a shame for his result. He stopped on the right-hand side of the road. Looks like someone's going to pass him. They'll go around the outside and not throw stones at his windscreen. Oh, what a real shame for Matt and Nicole. right in front of us.
What a shame. This
Let's time the. Somebody got a clock on the. Shall we call it a pit stop? Unfortunately, they got a Manuel the jack, Manuel the wheel nuts. Well, actually not quite. They'll have a rattle gun, electric rattle gun, of course. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
such a shame. Matt was looking at having to use the Subaru Impreza this year, but the other AP4 Mirage having been sold, and then after Brian Green had an accident and understand fractured a rib, he's handed his car over to Matt Summerfield, and
around the outside
goes Josh Marsden and Andrew Graves.
might
in
look a
the
little
Holden
bit
Marina.
dangerous to the viewers, but the crews know what they're doing. The nature of the course takes them a little bit wide on the exit of the corner anyway, which puts them on the competing cars on the other side of the road. Looks like there's enough gap to be safe, and the minutes tick
already
over.
already over a minute now, heading towards 2 minutes that he's dropped. And we've just been advised that Hayden's average speed in Kuri Bush was 124.44
Wow.
kilometres per hour.
Wow, that's astonishing, incredible.
Thank you very much, DC, for the notes coming in to help with our commentary here today. Car 13 comes through, that's Phil Campbell, Malcolm Peden from Cambridge, Phil from Tauranga, and the Ford Fiesta AP4. So the other missing competitor is Emma Gilmore, of course. Emma was running behind Matt Summerfield, or seated behind Matt Summerfield, and in front of Josh Marsden, so no sign of Emma Gilmore. The next car into the stage should be Rana Horan and Mike Connor and the Skoda R5. Of course, we mentioned they didn't do stage 2. From all accounts, it appears like Ronan's had a rollover with the car. Brand new car for Ronan this year, the Skoda R5, and looking fantastic in the gold colour scheme. And here he is.
Ah,
Definitely got some battle scars.
yes. That's the exact words I was thinking of. Bit of a shame that car was particularly nice last night at the ceremonial start. It looked beautifully prepared. Obviously all cars are at this time of the season, and they got their car up off the ground yet? Oh no. Time's ticking away, tick tick tick. They can't get the car high enough to get the wheel off. That's the downside of having a lot of suspension travel. They're going to need some blocks of wood to put under the jack probably. Looks like the spectators are helping out in the paddock, robbing the cockies, or should I say the farmers' spare fence posts.
Up to the corner comes Stephen Barker and Chris McIver from Hamilton
Yeah, there's
in
a
the
better
Mitsubishi
shot from the
Evo
drone.
9.
It shows that there's quite a bit of room to pass there. The stones are all being flicked in the opposite direction, and the time's ticking away. Oh, I'm gutted.
What a
for it.
fantastic shot though from the MoMac crew coming from the drone. So Ronan Horn, Stephen Barker. Of course, it's been a while since Stephen Barker's been competing in New Zealand, certainly in the National Rally Championship. Stephen went to the UK and worked with M Sport with Malcolm Wilson,
Okay.
and had an opportunity to do a little bit of driving over there. But a name I haven't seen around, but nice to see Stephen Barker, a very, very good competitor, along with Chris McIver and a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 9. So the first of the non AP4 type cars. as we wait for Kingsley and Waverley Jones and their Skoda R5, and here they come. Kingsley Jones from Papakura, Waverley Jones from Auckland, and a new car for them on the Skoda R5.
And understandably being a little bit cautious, just finding their way in a new car, probably more used to his old Mitsubishis that he's rallied over the years. But once they get to the hang of it, that'll be a quick car, as it's won the Asia Pacific Championship in the past. Now there's a few people helping, well, not helping, but watching closely.
Poor Matt trying to get the wheel onto this car, such a shame. As Joe Quintock and Grant Mara and the Skoda Fabia AP4 come through.
Sounded pretty strong too.
Joe from Ahoka, Grant Mara from Christchurch.
We've had the top guys in the NZRC reach the finish line now in stage 4, and of course we heard that Hayden Paddon's broken his own record by 4 seconds. Interestingly, Ben Hunt's actually only 11.8 seconds behind. That's not too bad over 15 k's. That's actually less than a second a k. So Ben Hunt's pushing along pretty well. In fact, that's extremely good. Very impressive.
Dylan Thompson and Amy Hudson from Christchurch. Of course, this is Dylan's first outing in a four-wheel drive car, having competed in the Ford Fiesta for a number of years. So he's finally stepped up, as these young guys do, coming through the rally classes, and great to see Ben and Amy doing a great job in the Subaru Impreza WRX, car number 18.
Third at the end of this stage, stage 4, is Brendan Reeves in the Ford Fiesta AP4, Brian Stokes. Interestingly, actually 14 seconds behind Ben Hunt, so you would have to say Ben Hunt was pushing extremely hard. Obviously knows the stage pretty well, done it a few times over the years. Good result for Ben, most likely pushing up the overall order, but we haven't got those particular results at this stage. We'll bring them to you in good time.
Matt Summerfield still trying to get the wheel on. They've done it.
They're back in the car, seatbelts on. Rally Safe would have warned other competitors that they were stopped on the side of the road. Rallying can be cruel.
And you're watching it in front of you, live on the MoMac, live streaming of Rally Otago 2019.
They will be gutted. Matt, you might as well back off just a little bit now. Don't get too angry. Accidents can happen sometimes when you get a little bit disappointed, but frustrated. Just keep your head together.
And here he is, Hawkswood Jr. Running out of order, but there we are. Jack Hawkswood and Alex Parkin in the Mazda 2 AP4. Fantastic shots coming to you live from the MoMac drone, and really does give you a very good look at what that stage looks like, the bird's eye view from the drone. competitors to come through: Eugene Crunay from New Caledonia and Philippe Delarue, the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 9.
They did the national championship last year, always consistent. Keeps it on the road. I don't think he had non-finish. Must be nice to come over here from New Caledonia and play on our roads.
And with a day like today, oh, but he feels like he's at home. Drive south, Rally Otago, and we're into the NZRC, and the first, Eugene in fact was the first of our NZRC and all-comers category competitors, as will our next one be the same, which is Matt Adams from Christchurch and Lisa Hudson from Christchurch in car number 20. The Mitsubishi Evo 9, of course, the sport well supported by the Hudson family, with Amy and Jared co-driving, Mum and Dad, Rocky and Lisa co-driving as well. You often get families of drivers. Here's a family of co-drivers. They've just bred them. And that's a sport that every driver needs a co-driver.
Over the dinner table. Who's got the best pace notes? That could be quite a debate.
Garrett and Gemma Thomas, talking of husband and wife teams, are next to come on the scene in car number 21. Garrett and Gemma from Darfield. And their Subaru Impreza WRX. Garrett, of course, has had top 3 results in the mainland rallies at Nelson, Canterbury, Hamner. A guy who's new to the sport but has shown a great amount of talent and has certainly got some very solid results for a very limited experience for Garrett and Gemma Thomas from Darfield, car number 21. Ben Thomason from Tauranga and Gavin Haycock in the Subaru Impreza WRX, car number 22 should be next, and here we go.
Looks like we've got news that David Holder, which was second on the road, and his Holden Barina unfortunately has broken a drive shaft 100 metres into the stage. Crew are okay, what they call a temporary withdrawal. No doubt they'll have a spare axle on board of the service crew back at Waihola Lake, or Lake Waihola, and we should see him back out again this afternoon. What a shame for David.
And talking of family affairs, of course, we had a Joe Quantock come through earlier in his Skoda Fabia R5. Dad Dave and Emma Quantock from Ahuka should be next in the Mitsubishi Mirage. This is the car, of course, that Matt Summerfield competed in last New Zealand's Rally Championship season. The car in the off-season sold to the Quantocks, and Father Dave is behind the wheel. Car number 23. Dave also entered in the NZRC and all-comers. And behind Dave should be the first of the NZRC two-wheel drive competitors, which is Marcus Van Klink and Dave Neal in the amazing sounding Mazda RX-8. The next two that we should see coming through the stage. And of course that yellow Impreza of Ben Thomason and Gavin Haycock is in fact the ex-Sam Murray Rob Ryan Fran Priestone car, which did very well in rallying years gone by. And here comes David Holder. David Holder has got going, and directly behind him is car 32, which is Bryn Smith and Andy Beck
Evo 9.
in a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 9.
Oh, they've jumped up the field a bit.
So that could in fact be the running order and not necessarily the seeded order that we've seen.
That's the way it goes now. Rolling speed to go.
So David Holder would have lost considerable time, of course, in the stage. A wee bit like Matt Summerfield, two top competitors.
Marcus Van Klink, I think.
Yes. Well, what can you say?
Speaks for itself. Volumes, really.
Marcus Van Klink and Dave Neal in the Mazda RX-8. Of course, Marcus was the classic champion in the Mazda RX-7 for a number of years,
Yes, he
and decided to move to an 8 from a 7, and he's developed that car over the last year. And what a sound, what a sight for Marcus Van Klink and Dave Neal and the Mazda RX-8.
And you are Isaac. Yeah, Isaac, come on, show us some dancing now. Yeah,
That thing sounds incredible, doesn't it?
I think that's pretty good. Yeah, carry on with the lap, Isaac.
Here we are, live streaming with the MoMac team from Kuri Bush, stage 4 of the Drive South Rally Fest, incorporating, of course, the International Classic class, NZRC Asia Pacific Rally Championship this year for the first time. Bruce Herbert, former New Zealand Rally champion, and Bevan Parker. Bevan from Sanson, Bruce Herbert from Palmerston North in their Mitsubishi Lancer EX Turbo. And back in the day, Roscoe, although Bruce was in Group A.
He won New Zealand
He
Championship
did
4 years
indeed.
in a row, I believe.
Yep.
2000, 2001, 2002, 2003. Group A Subaru, very hard to beat, and a Group N car, like standard production car that we were in, but we gave him a run for his money in a couple of rallies. He's a good competitor, great to see him back in the sport, enjoying himself in the classics. Well, not quite a classic because it doesn't qualify, it's probably got a bigger turbo than what it's allowed, but good on him for being out here having fun.
So still no sign yet of Dave and Emma Quantock. Car 25, the Haggertys. Oh, hang on. 26, Sean, two Seans. Sean Haggerty and Sean Sands. Sean from Rangiora, Sean Sands from Springston, and the Subaru Impreza WRX entered in the all-comers class here at Rally Otago. And a very good morning to our international viewers watching from Ireland and the Isles over there. We have Frank Kelly and Lauren Kelly should be coming next in the Ford Escort Mark II.
Frank
I think
will
we'll
put on
just
a show.
let it speak for itself. That's one angry Irish escort.
That's singing. That's music to my ears. I think it sounds like a sequential gearbox as well, which is probably one reason it doesn't, or not qualifying for the actual classic rally. But certainly makes his gear changes faster and just keeps the thing on the boil.
Great to see Frank and Lauren back here, absolute crowd favourites, and they'll be putting on a show every kilometre of the way. Another escort should be coming next, which is Anthony Jones and Tanya Gwynn from Cambridge and Hamilton, also entered in NZRC 3. And the escort theme will be continuing. Stadium Cars man Tony Gosling from Christchurch with Blair Reid are now residing in Australia sitting beside him. Also entered in NZRC 3. Tony and Blair, car 29 should be our next one through the stage. So I hope wherever you're watching our live streaming coverage from today that the weather is as nice and sunny at your place as it is down here in Otago. And once again, thank you to all those who are making a donation towards the MoMac live streaming coverage of Rally Otago. The only way the MoMac team can recoup some of their costs. As the Toyota FT86 of Brent Taylor from Cambridge and Chris Ramsey from Hamilton come through, another NZRC 3 competitors. Brett Taylor, of course, Chris Ramsey was a driver in his own right and had a pretty angry sort of a starlet back in the day.
And he ran an A86 in the Silver Fern Rally as well. Now he's a pretty good engine builder, pretty good car prep. Interesting that he's been sitting with Brent Taylor for a number of years now in that particular car. The FT86 of course is the modern version of the old AE86 Classic. The FT86 actually has a Subaru engine and a Toyota body shell. A little bit of a mix there, but there we go.
Jack Williamson and Brenda Williamson from Raglan and their Subaru Impreza STI entered in the all-comers class. Following the Williamsons in car 31 should be car 34, which is the G's, David G and Liam G from Blenheim. Their Subaru Impreza WRX running in NZRC and in the all-comers category.
Cut that corner a bit fine. A little bit of a two-wheeling act. Didn't lose too much time.
So we could see the car coming a little bit clearer.
Welcome into our coverage of Special Stage 4 Kuri Bush, where we will be following the full field to the very last car, which should be Daff O'Rourke and Brianna Little in a Toyota Corolla car number 80. So still plenty of action to come from Special Stage 4 yet. So there go the G's, David and Liam from Blenheim in their Subaru Impreza WRX car number 34. And handy to know, we've just been advised too that the Jack and Brenda Williamson Subaru Impreza STI from Raglan is the ex-Motor Image Possum-born MS APRC car driven by Padden in the NZRC and winner of Otago Rally 2011. Scott Jones and Shane Reynolds in the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 8 head through the spectator position here in Special Stage 4. Also in the NZRC and all comers, Scott from Pleasant Point, Shane from Timuka. Kuri and Noel Maloney from Tauranga in the Subaru Impreza WRX car number 38. So we are missing one other competitor at this stage. Car 39 should be next on the road. David Taylor and Jared Hudson. Talking about the Hudson family, young Jared sitting beside David Taylor from Marlborough. Jared from Christchurch in their Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 7. Entered in NZRC and all comers. As Dave Strong comes into frame, Dave and Bruce McKenzie in the Honda Jazz. Dave Strong has rallied so many cars and for so long.
I can never actually ever remember if he's had a crash, because I don't think he's actually ever been off the road. As one consistent driver over a lot of years. I'd hate to think what his tyre bill would have been over that many years.
So, car 40, so we haven't seen, still missing a couple of other cars here. Let's just keep an eye on the field as it comes through. The next car, if it is car 41, should be the Stokeses, Robbie and Amy, brother and sister from Waiuku, and the Ford Fiesta R2. But no, it's one of the ones we have been waiting for. Car 39. So there we are, there was David Taylor and Jared Hudson in the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 7. So actually running behind a Dave Strong instead of in front of, as the numbers would suggest. Here are the Stokeses, and stoking along very nicely through that corner.
And clean and tidy.
Robbie,
very
maybe.
clean, very tidy.
And we should have another Ford Fiesta R2. Mike Sheehan from Queenstown, Glenn Goldring from Auckland. Of course, entered in NZRC2. So we'll be closely watching that battle between the Ford Fiestas. Of course, these two have had the old battle at the likes of Mainland Rally Series, Canterbury, Hamner. And we'll see who comes out on top at Rally Otago tomorrow night between the Ford Fiesta R2s of Robbie Stokes And there he is, Mike Sheenan, and the truck moves Ford Fiesta R2. The next car to come through, car number 43, will be Ari Pettigrew and Andy Sorendis from Australia in a BMW 318 Ti. Of course, Ari came to fame driving his BMW 318 down at the Catlins Coast Rally and finishing in an incredible result. Second, I think, in memory overall. Had a rather unfruitful effort in a Ford Fiesta, which had lots of problems a year or two ago, so he's reverted back to his BMW 318. But an exceptional young driver is Ari Pettigrew. And here comes the BM. No, it's not. We've got the
I wonder if that is that David Laughlin's old car with the 6-cylinder Subaru motor.
Mark Parsons.
Oh, there you go.
And Darren McDonald.
A hard charger from way back. Certainly sounds like it had a lot of horsepower.
This Mark is in the all-comers field as well.
Unfortunately, we didn't see Emma Gilmore come through in the Suzuki Swift. A real shame for the local driver. One of her favourite events. She's done these roads for many years, probably over 20 years. And just not really sure what's going on there. We haven't had any news from the organisers. We'll keep you informed.
Yep, Mark Parsons with the 6-cylinder, 8-6-cylinder car of Parsons. Of course, there is another one of the H6s in the field as well, which we will see a little later in proceedings. So, definitely an escort. Wayne Pittams and Chris Davison. Wayne Pittams from Tauranga, Chris Davidson from Auckland in a Ford Escort. And of course, Wayne's goes back many years in rallying as well. Rallied Datsun 1200s, 1600s, and also had the left-hand drive Lancia Delta Integral.
Integrale.
Group N version, I think it was.
Group N version in Rally New Zealand a few times. Very keen competitor. Been around the traps. Good to see him back in the hot seat again.
Another superbly built and presented car for Wayne Pittams in the Ford Escort. There we are. There's the other. See, we were having another one coming along, and it is Gary Cliff and James Cowles from Christchurch. Gary Cliff, also a very seasoned rally competitor, has driven a host of cars over the years.
Started on Datsun 1200 too, way back, early 80s. In fact, who won this first rally in a Datsun 1200 from Christchurch?
Yes, the very first Rally Otago was won in 1976 by
Trevor Crowe.
Trevor Crowe. in a
There you
Datsun
go.
1200. Don't think you'd win this
Formidable-
one in a Datsun 1200 this year.
Formidable rally car in the day.
Ryan, I think again. Can I see the shot?
So with Mark and Wayne Pittams through, and Gary Cliff, there's a few cars missing, may not necessarily be running in the numerical order. Obviously not, because there's Dave Ollis and Matt Butler, car number 48, Subaru Impreza WRX, Dave Ollis from Waikuku. And Dave, of course, is the father-in-law of Garrett Thomas, the father of Gemma Thomas, and Garrett and Gemma, of course, in the later model Subaru Impreza. And coming along at some stage shortly, Roscoe, should be Ben Hayes and Kathy Hayes from Australia in their Holden Commodore SS.
There we go. They're keen. At least the roads are wide enough for a Commodore. There we go.
No, it's the Avenger. 16C, okay, so he's a
Mark
long way
Lawton,
out of
eh?
order. Long way out of order.
I think that's
but
Mark Lawton.
yes, it
actually.
is. Yep.
He's obviously had some problems earlier on, but there's another V8, so the V8s are still alive.
Okay, then. I go.
Up to our vantage point now, and through goes car
Wayne
number
Rogery from Auckland.
72.
I know actually Wayne very well. He used to work on my team many years and years ago. He used to come down from Auckland to Hamilton to help me win the car, and now he's got his own little baby, Toyota Starlet with a 1600 4AGE motor in it. Good to see him out there having a bit of fun.
Trust wherever you are enjoying the live streaming coverage. And pictures from Special Stage 4 Kuri Bush, supplied by the MoMac live streaming team. And car
Another 6-cylinder.
That's it.
Sweet. Yeah, probably a Nissan Gazelle, yeah.
So there we
6-cylinder.
are. Another Australian pairing at Rally Otago, Andrew Travis and Aaron Copler from Australia in a Nissan Gazelle. So the overall classic times after Special Stage 5, Macintosh Road, which is of course where the drivers are heading from Kuri Bush, and it is Mats Ostberg from Regan Ross by 14.3 seconds, and Derek Asen a further 12.3 seconds behind. So Ostberg, Regan Ross and Derek Asen 1, 2, 3 after Special Stage 5 of the overall in the classic field here at Rally Otago. So following Special Stage 5, the cars head back to the second service of the day, also at Lake Waiola. Here's the Commodore.
Well, we're a long way from Phillip Island, but maybe that's where that car may be better suited.
Ben Hayes and Kathy Hayes from Australia in the Holden Commodore SS.
I'm not sure why it's green. There's not a lot of There's not a lot of green about it, is there? How much fuel can you burn in a special stage? He probably has to carry 2 spare tyres in between, change the rears in the between.
So following Kuri Bush, Special Stage 4, Special Stage 5 Macintosh Road, just over half distance of the 2 stages we've done, Tyree Beach and Kuri Bush at 15k each, just 8 kilometres for Macintosh Road. Car 54, where are you? There he is,
Oh my gosh.
Gerald McConkey and Eric Johnson.
And another,
And another.
6-cylinder.
6-cylinder.
Impreza.
And Jared and Eric over from Australia. Well, if it were fitted in the same container as the Commodore, would it? Car 55 is the Toyota Live-In of Nick Marsden and Peter Colvert. Peter from West Melton, Nick from Christchurch, of course, brother of Josh Marsden, and they're in their Toyota Live-In. Car number 55. Entered in All Comers B of Otago Rally. And we've just been informed that in fact all the H6 Impressas are built by Smithy at Magnum Motorsport.
There you go. Mark Smith. Genius.
Mark, of course, the father of Tim Smith, who's doing so well in his Toyota startup. Perhaps you get one of those, horseshoed into one of those one day. Car 57 is Phil Thomas from Australia and Alex Gelsomino from USA and a Ford Escort Mark II Duratec in All Comers C. Well, we've obviously lost a few competitors by stage 4. So it looks like we're not going to see Ari Pettigrew and a few of those ones who should have been through a wee bit earlier. And talking of BMWs, we should have another one coming shortly for Gavin Reid, car 58, but on this now is car 58. There it is. Gavin Reid and Josh Lancashire from Wallistown, Gavin from Invercargill in a BMW.
It looked more like a Toyota Corolla.
Corolla,
to me.
did to me.
Maybe he's changed cars for some reason. It looked very much like the car that Chris Patton used to drive, which was Hayden's father back in the day.
Indeed, I think he was entered originally in the sheets in a BMW, but I think you are correct. It definitely is not a BMW. And car 59 should be coming next, another Toyota 86. If it is, it will be Tony Quinn. But sounds like an escort to me, and here it comes. Car 52 is Brodie Anderson from Dunedin, and Alana Grant in a Ford Escort Mark II entered in All Comers C. Fantastic day down here in Otago for the 2019 Drive South Rally Fest, and conditions dry, but I guess with all the wet weather we've had of recent times, certainly not much dust coming up off these roads, Ross.
Probably getting down to a fairly bare base now. There's been a fair bit of gravel being thrown around the countryside, and
Here we are. Oh, there is Gavin Reid. Sorry, it is car 58, so we had the wrong call before. That is Gavin Reid and Josh Lancashire in the BMW 328 RS.
in fact I think the wind's blowing across the other side of the from us as well, which is very handy, keeping out of the dust, but not a lot of dust.
Car 60, there's Peter Jackson and A. Lek Day from Dunedin, and a Ford Fiesta R2 entered in NZRC 2. Peter Jackson, of course, from Dunedin for many years, rallied the Citroen Saxo.
Okay, yep. But, didn't look like a novice. It's going reasonably good. Nice clean line.
So still 20 more cars to come through special stage for Kuri Bush, if all are still running. And the next one, car 61, should be the Dodgers from Gisborne, Neil and Rachel in the Toyota Corolla GT in all comers C class. But it's an escort, it's car Neville Kidd and Andy Reid. Neville from Tasman, Andy Reid from Christchurch, and their Ford Escort Mark II also in all comers C.
Going pretty strong.
And in the all-comers is certainly where you start to see a few novel type cars, and one of those is an Australian pairing which should be coming along soon, car 63, which is Paul Lanham and Roger McNaughton from Australia in a Toyota Altezza RS.
At least it's rear wheel drive. Sounds like a bit of fun. Unusual rally car. Probably more renowned as a tarmac car, maybe a Targa type car. Seen them compete in the Otago Rally over here a few times. Interesting on gravel though.
Car 64.
Little Suzuki Swift.
And the little Suzuki Swift of Brendan Wadsworth from Renwick and Quinn Blanchfield from Havelock. And we have been advised, in fact, Ari Pettigrew is out in stage 2 as a permanent retirement no reason has been given. So sadly we won't see Ari do his magic in the BMW, at least for the remainder of today.
Feisty Fiesta.
Another feisty Fiesta indeed. It's Kevin Lynch from Hara and Dean McCrosty from Milton.
Interesting. Dean actually ended up owning the old Evo 6.5 that we ran on behalf of Rally Art a number of years ago. Another one of my cars down the seat of the woods. In fact, there's 3 of them. 2 in Christchurch and 1 in Milton.
There you go.
In fact, they're the only 3 that are still going, I believe.
And if memory serves me well, did Dean McCrosty also competed in a Datsun? Bluebird? Was it
yes.
Dean McCrosty in a Datsun
Yes,
Bluebird?
it was prior to the Evo, I think.
Here we are, calling on the memory banks if we can. Car 66, there it was, Kevin and Dean, and the Ford Fiesta car 66. Car 63, there it is. There's your Altessa Ross. Paul Lana from Australia and Roger McNaughton, Toyota Altessa RS 200.
Percolating nicely.
Car 44.
It's a tidy Mark 1 Escort. Sounds sweet. Going strong.
So car 44, Jason Keach and his Ford Escort RS, who comes from Burkina Faso.
Okay.
Google map that one. 44, Jason Keach, entered in the all-comers.
Okay.
So looking at the business end of the field, cars will be getting set to start 5 minutes time. The first cars will enter special stage 6, which is Waipuri Gorge. Currently most heading towards the service park at Lake Waiola. Car 68. The Toyota Torino of Raymond and Ryan Wilkinsons. Wilkinsons from Otago in all-comers B.
Okay, finally been able to give you some overall times after special stage 5 Macintosh Road. Paddon leads the rally to Brendan Reeves by 1 minute 49. Handy little lead, another 33 seconds back to Dylan Turner.
As car 70 comes through our spectator point, it's Andy Gillies from Arrowtown and Nathan Pilcher from Auckland, their Toyota Levin AE85.
And after stage 5, Ben Hunter's actually only 8.7 seconds behind Dylan Turner, so that's pretty close for third and fourth. Phil Campbell was running fifth, another 32 seconds behind them. Stephen Barker 20 seconds behind seventh. Andrew Hawkswood another 53.7, so they're starting to spread out a little bit. Interesting. Mats Osberg is leading two-wheel drive.
As Pat Dillon and
Looks
Bruce
like he
Chisholm
might be coming third or
head
fourth
through,
overall.
both from Wanganui in the Ford Escort Mexico, car 73.
Having a bit of trouble getting the overall results off the Chris Sport website for some reason. I'm not quite sure, but we're getting special stage times, but not the overall times.
So down to the final probably 7 odd cars to come through special stage 4 Kuri Bush. So once our coverage concludes here from special stage 4 at Kuri Bush, the MoMac team will then head to special stage 8, which is the tarmac super sprint on the streets of Dunedin, 2.1 kilometre. So from Kuri Bush, the gravel to the streets of Dunedin next for the MoMac live streaming team. And if you'd like to support our live streaming coverage over this weekend, if you could kindly jump on to the GoFundMe page that you see live on screen, make a donation towards the crew to cover the costs of bringing this live streaming coverage to you, and any donation, every donation, gratefully appreciated. As car number 74 comes through, that's the Datsun 180B of Rex Ford from Cheviot and Gary Wilkinson from Christchurch, competing in All Comers C, car 74, Rex Ford and Gary Wilkinson. Just waiting for the tail cars to come through now. And car number 69 passes our spectator spot. It's Michael Gunn from Gore and Chelsea Smith from Wanaka in their Toyota Corolla All Comers B. Michael Gunn and Chelsea Smith. Car 75 Mike Wheatley from Auckland, and Phil Walker from Rangiora, and the Ford Escort in All Comers C. And off the overall results, I see that in fact the battle between the Hawkswoods, and Andrew is leading Jack Hawkswood overall after 5 stages by 39.6 seconds. There goes the Suzuki Swift of Kimoto Kondo from Japan and Ayazo Kono from Japan in their Suzuki Swift car number 76. So obviously there was a great battle going on between the Hawkswood. Andrew leading Jack now by 39.6 seconds after 5 stages. So Andrew did tell us that when Jack starts beating him, he's handing the car over. Well, this year he's getting an awful lot closer. Go Jack.
First time in the top turbo 4-wheel drive class, of course. Last year he ran a non-turbo charged 4-wheel drive version just to get him a bit more used to the car and whatnot, so it's a good step up for him in pace, and he's going alright so far. Although I did hear a story, he had a wee bit of drama in testing last weekend. I hear he tipped the car over once or twice.
Or 9 or 10.
That was some story, wasn't it? Looks like after stage 5, Tim Smith is leading Steve Cox in Class A, which is the 1300cc class, by a minute and 50. That young Tim Smith is actually showing a little bit of talent, isn't he?
He absolutely is. He's been impressive down here watching him in some local events, and yep, expected.
In 5 stages, that's incredible. Very young fella.
Car 5?
Stage 5 results for the stage through. Interesting to see Ben Hunt actually finished second to Hayden Padden. 8Ks, 9 seconds the difference. So he's sort of hanging in around that 1 second a K. Hayden broke his own record from 2018 when he set 4:19.5. This year 4:17 dead. So he's taken another 2.5 seconds off his own record. Just going to compare Mats Osberg's time. Last year he was fastest through at 4:48.6. This year he did 4:44.2, so he's 4 seconds faster than his own record as well in the BDA Escort RS 1800.
Just through the spectator point here in special stage 4 in Kuri Bush, that was Paul Taylor from Lower Hutt with Richard Leggett from Porirua sitting beside him in a BMW 535i with a V12.
Okay, there, I did read a V12 on the entry list somewhere. Good on them. They're probably leading the race for who can consume the most fuel.
Or for the number of cylinders. Car 78, that's the little Suzuki Ignis 1500 of Chris Hogan from Queenstown with Brent Clemens beside him.
Did we see Tony Quinn come through?
I think that was the
Second of
yes.
the GT86? Sorry,
Yep,
must
I
have
think
been
we
looking at
may have
somewhere
called
on
him
the
as the wrong car, but I think that was in fact Tony Quinn that came through. So 80 competitors in total, and car 79. The Suzuki Swift of Ivan Azanda from the Philippines, and Dean Schroeder from Nelson. Suzuki Swift in the all-comers. Now I think Dean actually may own that particular car. Dean Schroeder, of course, is a name that I recall back in the day rallying a Gemini, Holden Gemini.
Okay, it's going back a few years.
Sure, it's the same Dean. So Ivan Asanda from the Philippines sitting in the car this time. Car 79. Here goes car 59. There is Tony Quinn. It's just gone through. So there we are. Tony Quinn, car 59 in the Toyota 86.
Tony Quinn, of course, is the owner of the Highlands Park Motorsport venue in Cromwell, and also the Highlands track just south of the Bombay Hills out of Auckland, halfway between Auckland and Hamilton. Tony Quinn's invested a lot of money in motorsport in this country, and it's great to see him doing a bit of gravel racing.
Indeed, of course, he competes in the GT category.
GT3 category. He brought the GT3s and the Australian racing cars out here for a series at both tracks. I think they're good on him. It's good to see him investing in our sport. Great to see.
So Tony, of course, running out of order. We've had car 79, so the final car that should be coming to us is Daffo Rourke and Brianna Little from Auckland in the Toyota Corolla, car number 80. Daffo Rourke, of course, is the partner of Matt Summerfield.
Okay, just talking and commiserating with Matt, the unfortunate little puncher he had and the slow nature of the tyre change. Unfortunately, he slipped back to 59th position overall. He will not be happy.
And here is Daffo Rourke and Brianna Little in the Toyota Corolla, car number 80, our final competitor in the New Zealand Rally Championship competition. So that's our live coverage from Special Stage 4 here in Kuri Bush. Thank you all for joining us on this beautiful Otago day, and we'll join you once again from the streets of Dunedin to bring all the live action from Special Stage 8, the super special on the streets of Dunedin. On behalf of Ross Meekings, this is Grant McDonald, and on behalf of the MoMac crew, wishing you a very good afternoon.